James Bond. No matter who you are or where you've come from, you've most likely heard this name before.
He has been a staple in pop culture for over 50 years, and even longer if you consider the original Ian Fleming novels. Happy holidays, everyone! You know, everyone has their holiday tradition, and lots of those involve watching holiday movies. I had an idea earlier in the year for a holiday special to review a series of movies that had absolutely nothing to do with the holidays. The original idea was to review the DCEU movies, but after realizing there would be absolute hell, besides from about 2 of them, I considered otherwise. After a long thought, I then decided to review the Daniel Craig James Bond movies. However, instead of only reviewing the Daniel Craig ones, I will be, over the course of 2022, be reviewing every James Bond movie, actor by actor, taking breaks in between, and maybe reviewing other movies in the breaks. So, without any further hold-ups, welcome back to Fallen Ninja Productions Movie Reviews, where I explain what a movie is. Today I'm starting the Daniel Craig series with the 2006 film Casino Royale. This movie is the 21st Bond movie of the official series, not counting the 60s spoof movie of the same name, and Never Say Never Again. It was released 4 years after the final Pierce Brosnan movie, Die Another Day. The initial pitch for the movie was actually brought to the studio by Quentin Tarantino, who wanted to star Brosnan in the role again in the 60s-style movie starring Uma Thurman as the Bond girl. The offer was rejected as the producers instead wanted to reboot the series. The next step in pre-production was finding the next actor to play the British spy. Eventually, 2 actors were left standing, Daniel Craig and Henry Cavill. Yes, the same Henry Cavill who played the new Superman in Man of Steel. Boy, am I so glad they went with Daniel Craig. Unfortunately, the public wasn't. When Daniel Craig was initially announced, the public was outraged and genuinely wanted anyone besides Daniel Craig and started telling everyone to boycott the film. The information I found was really scarce since it was in the earlier days of the internet, so barely anyone paid too much attention to it in the media, so don't quote me on any of it. Anyway, Casino Royale was released on the 16th of November 2006 to extremely positive reviews, and for all good reasons. This movie was an all-new take on the character and the idea of James Bond. The movie did what the Pierce Brosnan movies attempted to do before instantly dropping the idea, which was making the character of James Bond serious. The Daniel Craig adaptation is definitely the most serious adaptation of the character, and for sure the most emotional and almost human. One of the only flaws of this movie is to no fault of its own, and that it isn't a great movie to get people started into the James Bond franchise. Case in point, one of my friends who I forced to watch the Daniel Craig movies. But whatever, he enjoyed them, didn't you?
Don't ever talk to me again.
Anyway. The story starts with James Bond getting his 00 status. How, you may ask? By killing 2 people. Well, now you know why it's called 00. This movie is actually one of those movies where the plot is so big I physically cannot fit it into a 20-second recap. The same with the rest of these movies. I'll try my best to do it in the series whilst also avoiding spoilers, but basically, a private banker to terrorists called Le Chiffre borrows money from a rebel group and bets on a company's failure, knowing a terrorist attack will occur. Bond spoils the plan, causing Le Chiffre to lose millions of dollars that isn't his, so he starts a high-stakes poker game to win back the money, which Bond also joins in on. That's the most basic summary of the plot. So with that knowledge, let's get down to the ratings. Today is the introduction of the new bonus round system. For every film series I see that follows similar formula or reuse things, I will award bonus points for if they did them well or not. For the James Bond franchise, I will be awarding bonus points for 2 things. 1 being the intro song and 2 being the gadgets. So anyway, up first is Originality. Very rarely is it that I have seen movies use gambling, or specifically poker, as a main plot point. The only other one I can think of is Vegas Vacation in 1997, but that was mainly played for jokes in displaying how corrupt casinos are. Plus, even in the Bond series, nothing like this had ever been done before. 10 out of 10. Second is storyline. Things do seem to jump around a lot in this movie, and it can be confusing if you miss a line of dialogue, but other than that, the movie's storyline flows pretty well, and is definitely tied up in later installments. 8 out of 10. Third is script. It's really good. Far from perfect, of course, but can be very entertaining at times. As much as the series focuses on being serious now, they still find the time to break some tension with jokes that are hit or miss, but mainly a hit for me. 9 out of 10. Fourth is characters. As I said before, this is the most character development we get for James Bond in any adaptation. Especially in these movies, it works splendidly. Not to mention, we still have Judi Dench as M, who is probably my favourite adaptation of M so far. Then we have the Bond villain Le Chiffre. Probably one of the most human Bond villains ever. In some scenes, he genuinely looks scared and fearing for his life. It adds depth to the villain and is 1,000 times better than your stereotypical Dr. Evil any day. 9 out of 10. Next is acting. Daniel Craig is a lot of people's favourite Bond, and I can definitely see why. I've more been a fan of Pierce Brosnan's Bond mainly for GoldenEye, but I'm genuinely going to need a while to get used to the new Bond after Daniel Craig leaves the role, just because he suits it so well. Then of course, Le Chiffre is played by Mads Mikkelsen, who is also phenomenal as Hannibal Lecter in the Hannibal TV series. 10 out of 10. After that is special effects. There's no understating this. This movie won a Guinness World Record for one of its effects. Most cannon rolls in a car. That's gotta count for something. Not to mention that the car crash in question was 100% practical. 10 out of 10. Next is editing. Definitely a step up from Die Another Day by far. Yes, there is the quick cut edits and fight scenes that I absolutely despise in action movies today, but I'll cut it some slack for some really well edited fight scenes. 8 out of 10. Next is creativity. Of course, based off the source material by Ian Fleming, which I have not read myself, but after some research I found really the movie only follows a few plot points from the book, and then mainly does its own things. Not to mention, it does a lot of things seemingly different from what a James Bond movie in general would do. 9 out of 10. Second last is entertainment value. Of course, as stated before, you won't get much out of it if it's your first Bond movie, but if you are a Bond fan, you can definitely find lots of entertainment value out of this movie. 9 out of 10. And lastly, is personal opinion. Definitely a fun rewatch in preparation for No Time to Die, and just an all-round good time. Even as a kid I enjoyed it. 9 out of 10. Which brings the total of Casino Royale to a total of... Oh damn, I almost forgot! For the bonus rounds, I will award a maximum of 3 points to a movie, depending on how good it is. If it fails, it will receive 0. First is the song. The song is an iconic James Bond staple, and this movie's song is called You Know My Name, sung by the late Chris Cornell. Originally, on rewatches of the franchise, I considered Adele's Skyfall to be my favourite Bond song, but recently this song may have taken that spot. I love everything about this song, all the way down to the visuals. Really stunning and deserves a +3. Second is gadgets. Bond movies are known for the gadgets, but being a more realistic take, they of course have incorporated realistic gadgets, like tracking devices, detonators and defibrillators, but nothing really memorable or iconic, like a cigarette gun. +1 for the realism. Which brings the total of Casino Royale to 95 out of 100. And now for my summarized thoughts. This movie definitely shut up the people wanting to boycott the film, which I almost guarantee the internet will try and do when they uncover the next James Bond. But I'm glad this movie exists. Without it, we'd probably still be seeing a silly, nonsensical Die Another Day style Bond film. Thanks for watching this video, everyone. Please stay tuned for my next review on Quantum of Solace. Wait, that's next? Ah, crap. I'm gonna need a vodka martini to get through that one. Shaken, not stirred.